This is Bernard. Bernard is a completely ordinary rabbit. He wakes up, goes to work, pays taxes, and spends 40 minutes choosing something to watch before rewatching the exact same show. Bernard also owns one share of Burrow Incorporated. He bought it for 10 carats. Tomorrow, Burrow Incorporated will announce that it has invented a machine capable of turning ordinary dirt into premium organic carrots. The company's share price is going to explode. Bernard does not know this, but this rabbit does. This is Gerald, Burrow Incorporated's chief financial rabbit. Gerald knows about the machine because he attended the secret meeting where everyone discussed the machine. So, the night before the announcement, Gerald buys 10,000 shares. The next morning, the announcement becomes public. The share price rises from 10 carats to 50 carats. Gerald makes 400,000 carats. Gerald calls this being good at investing. The government calls it, please put your paws where we can see them. That is insider trading. Mostly. Because like most financial crimes, the full explanation requires several definitions, few confusing exceptions, and at least one rabbit who thought deleting a message would also delete it from the government. Insider trading is often described as trading with secret information. That's close, but it is not quite enough. The information generally has to be material and non-public, and the trade usually has to violate some duty of trust or confidence. Material means the information would probably matter to a reasonable investor. A company discovering a revolutionary new product? Material. A company preparing to announce enormous losses? Material. The office replacing regular coffee with hazelnut? Emotionally devastating, but probably not material. Non-public means ordinary rabbits do not have access to the information yet. If the information has already been announced publicly, filed with regulators, and reported across every financial news channel, then the secret carrot has already left the bag. And the duty part is important because insider trading law is not simply a law against knowing things. That would make intelligence illegal. It is about abusing confidential information that you were trusted with. So, in simple terms, illegal insider trading usually involves important secret information, a trader tip, and a betrayal of trust. Most rabbits imagine an insider as the chief executive, sitting in a dark boardroom, wearing an expensive suit, and stroking a suspiciously hairless cat. But an insider can be almost anyone who receives confidential information through their job or another trusted relationship. Executives can be insiders. Employees can be insiders. Lawyers, accountants, bankers, consultants, and government workers can be insiders. Even the rabbit repairing the office printer can become an insider if the printer suddenly launches a confidential merger document directly into his face. You do not need a corner office. You need access to important secret information and the confidence to make a truly terrible decision. And you do not even have to trade shares in the company where you work. Suppose Gerald learns that Burrow Incorporated is planning to buy Lettuce Limited. Once the acquisition becomes public, Lettuce Limited's share price will probably rise. Gerald does not buy shares in Burrow Incorporated. Instead, he buys shares in Lettuce Limited. Gerald may believe this is clever because he technically traded a different company. But the important part is not the name printed on the building. The important part is that Gerald used Burrow Incorporated's confidential information for personal carrot gain. Now, Gerald has watched enough legal dramas to realize that buying the shares himself may look suspicious. So, he develops what he believes is a genius plan. He tells his cousin Kevin. Kevin buys the shares instead. After the announcement, Kevin makes a huge profit. Kevin then gives Gerald a completely unrelated gift consisting of 20,000 carrots and a jet ski. There's no water anywhere near the burrow. This is called tipping. The person who shares the confidential information is the tipper. The person who receives it and trades is the tippy. Calling the secret information a fun market prediction does not make it legal. Using code words does not make it legal. Gerald may text Kevin, "Grandmother's soup will be spicy on Thursday." But if investigators already know that grandmother's Gerald's nickname for Burrow Incorporated, then Gerald has not created a secret code. He has created evidence with extra steps. Passing the information through several rabbits does not wash it clean either. Gerald tells Kevin. Kevin tells Susan. Susan tells a rabbit named Carrot King 99 in a private chat. Carrot King tells 12,000 followers that he has a strong feeling about the stock. The chain has become longer. It has not become legal. Now, here's the confusing part. Not all trading by insiders is illegal. Corporate insiders can legally buy and sell shares in their own companies. Executives are allowed to own stock. Directors are allowed to sell stock. Employees are allowed to participate in company stock plans. The problem is not that they work inside the company. The problem is trading while abusing material, non-public information. Gerald may legally sell his shares because he wants to buy a larger house. He may not sell his shares because he secretly knows that tomorrow's earnings report will reveal that the company's entire carrot reserve was eaten by moths. Same rabbit, same shares. Very different Tuesday. Certain corporate insiders also have to publicly report their ownership and transactions, using documents known as Forms 3, 4, and 5. Some insiders also use pre-arranged trading programs, known as Rule 10 B51 plans. These plans are created in advance, before the insider possesses important, secret information. They establish instructions for future trades, such as selling a certain number of shares on specific dates. It is basically Gerald handing the steering wheel to a calendar, before he learns where the road is going. The plan is not supposed to be created after Gerald discovers terrible news, and suddenly decides that next Tuesday would be an excellent time to sell everything. At this point, someone usually asks, but who was actually harmed? No carrots were physically stolen. That's true. Gerald did not break into Bernard's house and remove carrots from his refrigerator. Instead, Gerald entered a market where Bernard was making a decision without information Gerald secretly possessed and was forbidden to exploit. Markets work because rabbits believe the game is not perfectly fair, but fair enough to participate in. Some rabbits have better research. Some rabbits are faster. Some understand accounting. Some spend weeks studying the company. Others click buy because the company logo looks friendly. Those are ordinary differences between investors. Insider trading is different. Gerald is playing poker while secretly holding a copy of Bernard's cards in tomorrow's newspaper. If ordinary rabbits believe every trade is against someone who already knows the ending, they stop trusting the market. And a market without trust is just a group of anxious mammals throwing carrots at a chart. Insider traders often imagine that investigators must catch them at the exact moment the secret is whispered. They do not. Investigators can work backward. A major announcement happens. A previously quiet stock suddenly experiences unusual trading. One account makes an extremely convenient profit. That account belongs to the chief financial rabbit's cousin. The cousin has never traded that company before. The cousin purchased the shares 2 minutes after a 7-minute phone call with Gerald. Gerald then searched online. Can the government see 7-minute phone calls? Gerald is not a criminal mastermind. Gerald is a mammal with Wi-Fi. Regulators can study unusual trading patterns, transaction timing, relationships, phone records, messages, and financial transfers. One lucky trade may be coincidence. A perfect trade before every confidential announcement begins to resemble a rabbit repeatedly being struck by lightning while carrying a machine labeled lightning attractor. Deleting a message may not delete backups. Using another rabbit's account creates another witness. Trading a smaller number of shares may reduce the number of carrots involved, but it does not transform illegal information into legal information. The best method for avoiding an insider trading investigation is not using a better encrypted messaging app. It is not insider trading. There are also several myths that refuse to die. Myth number 1. I heard it from a friend, so I am not an insider. Wrong. Outsiders can still face serious consequences if they knowingly trade using improperly shared confidential information. Myth number 2. I did not make any carrots. I only avoided losing carrots. Selling before bad news can be just as suspicious as buying before good news. Myth number 3. I only told my spouse. Your spouse is not a legally recognized information shredder. Myth number 4. Everyone does it. Everyone also claims to understand taxes. Myth number 5. It was obvious the company would be acquired. Maybe it was, but if you learned about the acquisition from a document titled Confidential Acquisition, your intuition received administrative assistance. So, insider trading is not simply a wealthy rabbit buying stock. It is not an employee owning shares in the company where they work. And it is not every transaction made by a corporate executive. Illegal insider trading generally means using important secret information to trade, or improperly giving that information to someone else who trades. Having an informational advantage is not automatically illegal. Research can create an advantage. Experience can create an advantage. Reading the entire financial report instead of immediately scrolling to the colorful graph can create an advantage. Insider trading is different because the advantage comes from confidential information being misused through betrayal. Gerald had been trusted with the future. He converted that trust into carrots. Bernard, meanwhile, was analyzing the company's fundamentals by checking whether its mascot looked confident. One rabbit accepted a normal investment risk, the other secretly knew the result. That is the difference. So remember, if your investment strategy begins with someone leaning toward you and whispering, "You did not hear this from me," you are entering the bonus level of federal securities law. Like, subscribe and keep your carrots public.